is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That happy little song we just heard there was called You Breathe, I Kill. It is from the tremendous release from 2017 called Condolences. And on the line right now to provide some condolences is the one and only vocalist, Wednesday 13. Wednesday, how are you, man?
Thank you. Sorry for your loss. Condolences.
Well, Wednesday, I got to tell you, man, and it's weird that I didn't get to talk to you back when the record came out, but this record that you put out was such an ass kicker, man. I would argue it's the best thing that you've done, you know, Murder Dolls or any of the other Gunfire 76, any of that stuff. I would say this is the most solid record start to finish you've done.
Well, thank you. I agree. I think that that's a lot due to my band and my lineup that I've had. I mean, my first few albums, I still like to them, and they're cool. But that was me just starting out, and I was pretty much playing most of the instruments besides the drums. And then I've had a solid band now for 6-7 years now, and so we've definitely gelled as a band, and we've that last the Condolences record was one that we really kind of worked on as a band, as a unit, and so I think that's why it sounded that way, because there was just a lot of, it wasn't just one-sided where I wrote all the music. I had input from different people, and then we worked with Zeus this time too with the producer, so it was just it was something that we needed. People don't really here have someone just to come in and just tweak your stuff a bit, because you suffer for so long, you get too close to it.
No doubt.
You become your own judge and jury, and that's not really the best thing.
Sure. Now I'm going to make an assumption here, since you've been out pretty much promoting this thing, fairly nonstop for the last 2 years. I'm going to assume that the record has very well for you. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, it's nothing. Again, we're not a top 40 band. We didn't do any radio stuff, but we're a working touring band. We tour nonstop with a record or without if we can. But having this record out and being on Nuclear Blast and doing different tours, and like last year we started doing a lot more. For years we were doing our own headlining tours, and that was mainly just because we couldn't afford to do support deals. So we some support deals last year and get in front of a different audience and things like that. So that was definitely helpful, and that's brought a few new faces to our shows, and that's why we're continuing this year. So we're supporting Cradle of Filth, and we have some more support tours we're going to be announcing later this year. And so it's basically just trying to get us in front of some different audiences this year, and then when the record comes out later this year, we'll start headlining, and then next year is just like full-on assault. We're doing everything, touring everywhere in the world. So I've already been hearing briefly about that I'm already getting exhausted.
Nice. Well, dude, I got to admit, Cradle of Filth, that seems like an odd pairing for you. Not that you guys can't hang with them, but certainly when I think of tours that you might end up on, that would not be in the top 10, I would have guessed.
Well, it's weird. I don't really know where we fit these days, because I'm not. I'm aware of a lot of bands, and I'm pretty much up to current with what's going on. But when it comes to us, it's my agent. Bless him, man, but he is the hardest time trying to place us. It's like, where do we put Wednesday 13? Okay, well, what does Wednesday 13 do? And it's like, okay, well, we could put in with Rob Zombie or Alice Cooper, but they're arena act, and they usually tour with their other bands and things. So it's so hard to fit me with anyone. So for me, Cradle of Filth, I think actually fits better probably than most bands they could stick us with, because Cradle of Filth has definitely been around for a while. They've definitely paid their dues. I remember hearing about them early 2008, 90s, and the cool thing about them is that, being a black metal band, they've definitely are one of those bands that kind of cross the waters, and other musicians and other fans of music have gotten into them, where there are fans that like Typo Negative that like Cradle of Filth. It's like they bring out the vampires as well as the black metal people, and so and then we're going to bring out the vampires and the monsters and the ghouls and everyone else. So I think it's a good mix. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It wouldn't be your normal thing you would think we'd fit with, but I think people are going to be surprised with our set list and our show and everything. I think we're going to fit with them a lot better than people actually think.
Sure. Do you? I don't want to say worry, because that's not the right word, but do you think about the fact of how unbelievably rabid their fans are, and that they'll, not that they'll come out throwing batteries or anything, but they just will not even give you a chance?
I hope that's the case. I hope they're tough, because that just makes me play better, harder, meaner. It's just one of the things I've told my band. We've been the band we've headlined for years and years. Only just financially, that's the only way we could make it work. We couldn't be a support band. But anytime we ever got a chance to be a support band and play with another audience, it's great, because not having people automatically love you is great. I mean, you can get spoiled with that. You come out and everyone's just going, yeah, I love all your songs, and I'm singing along. But to have a complete stranger with his arms crossed for the first 3 songs, and then by the 4th or 5th song, their hands are up, and that's a cool thing. So for me, it's a challenge to go out and knowing that this is a different audience, we have to fight a little harder. But after doing 6 weeks with Iron Maiden with Murder Dolls years ago, I'm not scared of any band, any audience, or anything, because for 6 weeks I had everything besides an automobile thrown me. So I'm okay with audience rejection and garbage, and I've did that before. So there's nothing like there's anything that can physically do anything worse than what the Iron Maiden audience does.
Right.
Thousands. I'm talking stadiums, 30,000 people telling you to fuck off. That builds character.
Yeah, no question, man. And you especially, you have been one of those survivors that, you guys you've been around 2 decades plus professionally that people are aware of. And you survived the breakup of the Murder Dolls, which was, was fairly public, and obviously the industry has changed and has not been friendly to you guys as far as putting radio songs on the radio. What do you think the secret has been to you? Do you think that it's just never quit, never say die attitude, or do you think that? I guess what do you think it is that has allowed your band to succeed when so many others that came up with you are gone?
It's a million ways to answer that question. The only one, and I think about that too. I wonder, why other bands faded out. Like when I go through old magazines and stuff I've collected over the years, through old magazines, and when Murder Dolls was on the cover of Hit Parader, and you can look through those magazines, and there's literally 10% of those bands still around.
Sure.
Like, really, they just went away, and I don't know. Everyone's got stars in their eyes, and at least like with me when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star. I didn't know what it was going to take.
Right.
But when you get that record deal, if you ever get a chance to get a record deal, you work your whole life to it, and you get a record deal, and it comes out, and it doesn't do anything, and then you get dropped. And then sometimes the ultimate cutthroat, you're done with, your dream's been crushed, and some people can't recover from that. And I think that's when a lot of bands, you'll see one album and they disappear. I feel like that's what happened to those bands. And then you got me, who got dropped on their first album within, I got signed, record came out April, I was dropped in December, and I could have went, oh man, sucks, but I didn't. I kept going, and same thing again, dropped again. All right, what do I do now? It's just, there's no time to dwell on the fact about it. You either pick up the situation and move forward, or you don't move. And a lot of people don't move, and I've kept moving forward, and I move with the. And also, I do something that's so different. It really didn't affect what I did, I've always been that weirdo guy, so like the new metal stuff dying never really affected me. I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't a part of the Screamo thing. I wasn't a part of any of that. I've just kind of stood. I've always toured, and I just love what I do, you know. And I think that's the main thing. A lot of bands just don't love it as much. Obviously, like I can't imagine not playing music. That's all I know how to do, and it's fun for me now. I've made it more fun for me now than it's ever been. You know, a lot of bands get burnt out. First albums, they're ride, and they go, oh, that's the best one. And I'm like, no, I think my first one's good, but I think this new one I'm about to put out is the best one. You know, and some people just don't have that mentality. But I don't know, different strokes for different folks.
Sure.
But I love what I do, and I think it shows, and I put a lot of work into what I do, and I'm lucky to have what I have, and I'm going to keep going as long as I can. And seeing someone like Alice Cooper who keeps doing what he does is just that motivates me to do what I do.
Sure. Are you, since I know you follow the industry a little bit anyway, are you flattered or bothered or have any feeling at all about this new wave of acts that are coming up doing, I don't know, they tend to call it like horrorcore or something for lack of a term, but you know, your Davey Suicides or Avatar, bands like that are coming up with a somewhat similar style. I mean, they do their own thing, and they're certainly not mimicking you or Zombie or any of that. But it just seems like there is a wave of it coming. Do you appreciate that, or are you proud to be part of the reason that those bands exist?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's flattering if any of influence any of those bands. That's great, and I'm definitely aware. We've toured with Davey, and we played a couple of shows with Avatar. They're a cool band, but yeah, I mean, there's different bands that are coming out. I really haven't seen anyone that's just knocked my socks off. You know, I've just become that old bitter man. Like my favorite stuff is still the old stuff. You know, I still have yet to see someone just come out and just knock it out of the park. And anyone that's apart these days are the older guys. I can go see Alice, and I'm like, man, his show was better than everybody else. I just saw Gary Newman 2 months ago, and I'm like, that dude's been putting stuff out since '78, and he blows away everybody. It's just, you know, so I don't know. I'm hoping that you know, something else comes around, and in the meantime, I want to pick up the slack of that, hopefully.
Excellent. Nice. Well, for now, you can definitely see a more than picking up the slack when Wednesday 13 is going to be out on tour with Cradle of Filth, and then a new record coming out after that. So Wednesday, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the record and maybe tell us a quick story about it. So what would you like us to wrap this one up with?
I always, in the show, is kind of how I always end my show. What I call my classic or my hit song, or unhit. My song Kings, that's been was on my first record. I wrote that song. It was one of the very first songs I wrote when I was writing for Wednesday 13, and I wrote 4 different versions of it, and I kept coming back to it, and I liked it, and every time we play that song, it's always become a fan favorite, and fans always ask me, who's that song about, dude? You got to tell me who that song's about. So the story is, it's not about anybody. I never give anybody the satisfaction of getting a song. So it's just, that's why I always put on my record a big F you to you, and you know who you are. So it's anonymous. It's anybody, and I think that's cool because he's naming it. So anybody that listens to this song has got that one asshole in their life, they can dedicate it to it. So bad things can go out to that person in your heart. So happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, there you go. Here you go, assholes. Here's some Wednesday 13. It is. It is Wednesday 13 right here on your Classic Metal Show.